Hey everybody, Chris here. Crypto top signals are flashing, and I know this is not what you want to hear, but this is what we have. We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And I know it's been a tough 2025 of trading, especially for like Dogecoin, which had such a promising end of 2024. Bitcoin still continued to move up during 2025, hitting a new all-time high in early October before the October 10th flash crash and what happened after that. We'll dig into that a little bit too here, but right now, markets are looking bearish. And are we heading into an entire bear market here for the next year or so, or are we going to have a super cycle or extended cycle? So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the Bitcoin chart. And the reason I'm starting with Bitcoin is because it's still the big daddy, right? It still leads the overall crypto trading by market cap. And as Bitcoin goes, so usually goes the rest of the crypto market. 90,200, flattening out here on a Saturday. Typically, this is what we see after kind of a violent up and down trading week that we've had, with the FOMC meeting, other liquidity sweeps, leverage trading, liquidations, all of that happening. That's what we've had for the week. And now here on a Saturday, Bitcoin flattening out. This is a brown box I have for Bitcoin, and the brown box is just what I use to sort of gauge the trading that's going on. This is Bitcoin's. Here's Dogecoin at 13.9. Dogecoin had more of a sell-off here over the past couple days and is recovering back into its brown box, while ETH is slowly moving up a little bit still in its brown box. So all three, right, that I follow mostly, all kind of leveling out. But as we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, that's what we're going to take a look at more in this video. We start with this though, gold. Right? This is the gold chart zoomed out, an absolutely insane chart on gold. And what does this mean? Well, typically when you see gold, right, price accelerating like this, that means there's fear in the overall market and investors are taking their money and they're putting it in a safe haven, which is gold. So a lot of fear of what is going on in the world, the economy, inflation, all of that, and so money goes into gold. Now, Bitcoin was supposed to be the digital gold, and you would think, well, if gold is going up, so would Bitcoin. But that's not the case, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I believe that. So, what do we have, right? We've got gold going up, but you know what? We also have the stock market going up too. That's right. The stock market goes up as well. But Bitcoin is down, ETH is down. Why is crypto down with the stock market going up and gold going up? Well, gold, again, the safe haven, right? The stock market's going up because of President Trump, right? He wants the stock market to go up, right? And he's the one who's saying, right, the markets look great. He's the one who is unleashing all of this oil in the country, right, to keep the gas prices down, make it look like we're not in a recession. And so, stock market is pumping. Now, most of the stock market, the S&P 500 particularly, is led by the big seven, right? And those are the big tech stocks. So, NVIDIA, right, the whole AI thing with Google and Meta and Microsoft and all those, they're all doing great. The rest of the stock market is pretty flat, although we do have little hints here and there that the Dow Jones starts spiking, which again is more of a flight to safety within the stock market that seems to be happening as well. So the S&P 500 gets it from both sides, both the risk and non-risk stocks, right, are alternatively going up, which leads to higher prices. Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ down just a little bit, gold up, Bitcoin down, ETH down. That's what we've got. And we've been looking at the Bart Simpsons. Here's another one, right? You get a big run, you chop around, and then retrace. You get a big run, chop around, retrace. Big ones, small ones, right? And here we just had another one. It's all the Bart Simpsons. This is what we have.
And it's happening again and again and again, and it's repeating. Pretty tough. Now, why is this happening? Well, here's another view, right? And you know, on this channel, I show a lot about leverage liquidations and who controls the crypto market. It's not you, right? It's not me. It's not the whales. No, it's the market makers and the exchanges. This is one example here. This is a trader on Hyperliquid who, starting in June, right, was trading with leverage and was up like $40 million near the end of September. And then what happened, right? Started to get greedy, didn't take all the profits, right? Kept trading, but the trading, long leverages, was still just going down and down and down, and especially with the October 10th flash crash, and then trying to trade his way out, is now down $20 million. Went from being up 40 to down 20. Actually 22 right there. And let me zoom out a little bit and you'll see right here at the bottom, this is an ETH trade right there. A 25x ETH trade, right, that he still has open. And his unrealized profit and loss on this one trade down $487,000. It's the leverage, guys. These are the things that don't happen in gold, right? You got some shorting of stocks, but the stocks don't have, I mean, there's calls and puts and those things in stocks, but not to the level that we have in crypto. These guys who've been trading crypto with leverage have been making so much money, and now the exchanges, market makers have taken over, and this is what you get. And this is what you get. So, just another example, Lark says, look, it's been a crazy year for crypto investors. Anyone who has made it big in crypto has gone through some crazy shit. And that is true. If you're still here surviving, you'll make it big one day. Better days will come if you have the patience to ride through the pain. And unfortunately, that's where we are right now. That's where we sit now. So what's going to happen going forward, right? Well, even Crypto Rover, who is a perma bull, looking at the M2 money supply continuing to go up, but yet Bitcoin pulling back. Long term, I remain bullish on crypto, but short term, I'm cautious. I have never seen Crypto Rover say anything like that before. I'm cautious. So the perma bull is now like, yeah, you know, this doesn't look so good. It doesn't look so good for Bitcoin. Even Merlin the trader, Bitcoin entered the danger zone. Top signals are stacking. RSI lost long-term support. Macro trend line under pressure. Structure mirrors the 2021 reversal. But smart money doesn't panic here. They accumulate, they prepare. Weak hands get shaken. Strong hands get rich. Except this isn't the time. This isn't the time. If we saw what happened in 2021, we hit that point, and then we went through 2022 and bear market, and then down here, right near November, December 2022, now that is where I started buying heavily into crypto. That was the signal to me to start buying with RSI like completely down in the dumps. Are we going to get that again here? Is this the signal, right? We've topped. $126,200 Bitcoin was the top, and now we are moving down. Probably have a little relief rally. I mean, we did right here. The end of 2021 into 2022, we did have a bit of a relief rally before falling further, and we could still see that. Again, going to come back below this line, come back and retest it right there. Came back and retested it before moving lower. I still think we could have that. But then we got CZ saying, look, we may be seeing a super cycle coming soon. Super cycle. Now, CZ, of course, is the one who I think is still the puppeteer, right, behind the scenes, taking out all those leverage traders, and eventually CZ could just say, okay, unleash the hounds, let's go. And if he's saying super cycle, he might actually have something to do about that. But again, I think it'll just be a relief rally, because what we see with top signals is bigger things start happening. We saw it in 2022, starting with Luna, right? Now Dogecoin was like in jail for 15 years, right? We even had Luna and Luna Classic like spiking on all this Dogecoin. That's just gambling, right? That's just gamblers. People bought the tops of those, and those are going to start trailing off again. But then that Luna thing led to 3 Hours Capital, led to Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, FTX eventually. And this guy was behind most of that. And we could be seeing that in 2026, unfortunately. So cautious going forward. But look, Matt here, Matt Kuntz, it's like 4-year cycle. It happened again. And we were talking 4-year cycles. Unfortunately, right? Very quietly, Bitcoin hit a 126,200 high. That was the high. 35 bars, 1,065 days from the low we had in 2022. That's similar to the 35 bars, 1,066 days we had from the bottom of 2018 to the top in 2021, which mirrored the 35 bars that we had back here from 2014 going up to the end of 2017 with a full 1 year, 12 bars, right? 12 monthly bars in between from top to bottom. 12 monthly bars top to bottom. What does that mean here? That means we're going to go into like September, October of 2026. And that's when we may see the bottom. Right? Probably October. Since it was November here, it'll be October there, I think. Because that's where we hit the top. Was October. Again, this is not a complete 4-year cycle. It's actually 3 years, 11 months that I've been saying. From December to November to October. Kind of interesting. That is how the math works. So this time wasn't different. This time wasn't different. Now, the percentages, right, are getting less, right? Meaning I don't think we're going to have a 70, 80% drop in Bitcoin. I'm not predicting that. I think it'll be less than we had the previous cycle, which was less than the cycle before, right? Bigger market cap, law of diminishing returns, right? Percentages get less violent both on the downside and the upside. But that is what the 4-year cycle chart shows if you believe in those kinds of things. What's happening with alts, right? And particularly memes, right? Because we follow memes with Dogecoin. Well, here's Bonk, right? CryptoPulse says, look, Bonk is bearish, likely to continue. Heavily bearish with big red candles printing nonstop. Price is now pausing inside a bearish flag. Classic continuation pattern for the downtrend. That's what Bonk is looking like right now. I'm hoping we get a little relief rally here so it can at least take something a little bit higher from here. And so I'd like to see Bonk come up a little bit. And then do my tax loss harvesting, which I talked about in my tax live stream the other day. Probably will look at doing something like that and then buy back in 2026 and see if that whole 4-year cycle thing really plays out that way. How about something like Fetch, right? Early 2024, Fetch had this huge run, right? The whole AI narrative, right? In crypto. And what has it done since then? Well, we had, again, when Dogecoin went up back in November, December 2024, right? All alts were going up. We had like a mini alt season there. And that was it for alts this cycle. That was it. Some early 2024, like Fetch, but most later 2024, like Dogecoin, and then just falling off the table. So we're all the way back down to where we were in 2023. That doesn't mean we're going to go on another 1,500% run. We may have seen the end of that with most alts. Now, there'll always be some, like there'll always be the next Aster, right, or Knight, or whatever the next shiny object is, right? But if you're not in it from the start, you're not going to get those kinds of gains. Trader Allen says, look, here's the Doge chart, right? Here we had this November into December 2024. Now that was on the backs of Trump winning the election, Elon Musk and Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, like all of that stuff, right? So Doge always has a narrative behind it when it goes on big spikes. It's not going to do this again without some catalyst specifically for Dogecoin. Is that Elon Musk again, but this time with X money, something like that? Maybe we could see that, get back up to 50 cents, something like that. We could see that the pattern is there that Alan shows us, but it's not going to happen unless there's some specific thing for Dogecoin. Ali even look, Dogecoin appears to be in this triangle, and we could see it kind of bounce around. There's the relief rally I was talking about. I was saying 20 cents on a relief rally. Without that big catalyst, this may be what Dogecoin does. And then it kind of bounces around, Could we see a further fall down to 12, 11, 10 cents? That would be the bear market scenario. Top signal was, again, back here. November, December 2024. That was the top signal. How about another top signal? Well, I mean, this was just announced, right? There's going to be this new film Netflix is making called One Attempt Remaining, starring Jennifer Garner. Two exes discovered the Bitcoin that they won on a cruise is now worth millions, but they've forgotten the password. Right? They don't say seed phrase, they say password. That's a top signal, right? You start seeing movies being made about Bitcoin, right? Just like we saw, remember the crypto Super Bowl, right? 2022. Well, that was the beginning of the bear market, wasn't it? And there was all these crypto ads, right? And meanwhile, the price is beginning to tank. Well, here we are going into 2026. And we have more of this stuff happening, right? They're late. They're behind the curve. If they had made this a year ago, maybe we would have had a better 2025. But again, we had the tariffs, and then we had the big leverage flush. All the stuff with Trump was supposed to be pro-crypto. And in the end, that didn't really happen, did it? So unfortunately, this is what we have. This is what we have. So again, we're going to continue to follow this narrative as we end 2025, go into 2026. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the top signals here. Or are you just a full believer in hopium, right? And super cycle, extended cycle, you're on board with CZ, right? Or Tom Lee, right? And Ethereum, right? Ethereum's going to go to 10,000 and Bitcoin's going to go to 200,000 in the next 50 days. All of those things are out there. We'll see how that works out. Again, we don't know exactly what the future holds, but the past does give us some signals of how this could go forward. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.